Before we start this meeting in about 45 seconds, I would like to I would like to request everybody shut their phones off so you don't get interrupted. We do have 30 minutes for this meeting. If you'd like to speak, it will be at the public comment. That will be the last part. Raise your hand. Do not interrupt anybody. You'll be asked to leave. Okay. No outbursts. When we go to discuss this, it's going to be committee members only. The rest of the board members, I'm glad you're here. We're limited in time. Committee members only. Could I have roll call, please?
Killian.
Here.
Fitztham.
Here.
Allen. Here. Kirkton.
Here.
Runyon.
Here.
Vieti. Weller.
Here. Everybody seen the agenda? I need a motion for approval.
Second.
Who was that? Kirkton down?
Kirk, he's down here. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Business to come before the committee. Health and Education Building, ad hoc report and recommendations. We've got the three gentlemen from the ad hoc committee here. Thank you guys very much. A little background on that. They were appointed back in about September, and they looked at different options that have been brought to their attention. And gentlemen, we'll turn it over to you.
You explain it better than I do.
As an ad hoc committee, we looked at a number of options. The main reason we're here tonight is we're looking for a direction to go. We've had a couple things on our plate. One of them is the Opperman building. We received a phone call, or had a phone call last Wednesday, and received some information about the sewers out there, and it was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was, between the leaks, the sewers, the energy efficiency of the building, it was basically going to have to be a complete gut and renovate. And as an ad hoc committee and as the administrative committee, decision was made to bring it to the committee tonight. Everybody got a copy of our findings and recommendations. If you have any questions, feel free. We'll try our best to answer.
Mark?
He was talking about the sewer. Can I ask specifically who informed you that there were sewer problems out there?
They asked to stay out of the middle of this, but it was a very reliable source.
No, not yet. Mark?
I'm just going to say I'm not comfortable with that answer. I mean, if we're supposed to be taking that there was a reliable source saying there's a sewer problem, I think we have the right to know who that reliable source was.
You have the right to ask. I'm not going to tell you.
I'll take that into consideration for my personal vote then.
There you go.
Mark, as a thing we can say, we do know the sewer is a residential sewer, not a commercial sewer.
And again, how do you know that?
From a person.
You could actually get the information from the city.
Yeah. And it includes all the buildings out there in that area.
Now, the latter part of that is, there is in the works, when there's money available through the TIF, to redo that whole sewer line to a commercial sewer line. When that would happen, we don't know, or if it would happen. But it's slated, but funds are not available as of yet.
If there is an issue with the sewer line, is that outside the building structure, or is that within the building structure? You have to look at it. Because as I understand it, when I was out there, that building is on one big cement slab, correct?
Yes.
And so the sewer lines, I'm assuming, are underneath the cement slab.
Correct.
And so are those issues with within that building, underneath that building structure, or is it, do you think it's outside that?
I think it's some of both, I have to talk with some.
Will they both?
They probably are cast iron.
Well, 60-year-old building.
60-year-old
you can
building.
expect that.
Cast iron.
I mean, it's possible that the pipes and the sewers underneath the concrete that there is now is not original, could be original, but we don't know. But we do know that there's an issue with it's a 6-inch line, residential, that runs from Lumex all the way to the manhole arbor.
And one thing we talked about between us and there, we're upgrading our other buildings to energy efficient lighting, heating and everything, so you start with that one right off the bat, you know, and we feel we should if we do that, so that's basically all new.
I kind of think you guys are going to give it kind of a hard job, because there's been no parameter set on how much we want to spend and how much we don't want to spend. Clearly, 7.2 million didn't fly very well, so okay, so that might be the upper limit. And so all these issues with the Opperman building, as an example, and I'm not telling I'm in favor of one course of action or another, I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know what that cost is. We talk about this is going to be substantial. Oh, okay, what is substantial? What does that mean? What's the dollar value of that? Because in the end, it might be actually a lot cheaper to do that. And I know I've talked to each one of you guys individually. I'm a big proponent of talking to Morton Buildings and getting away from Farnsworth.
Right.
And that's not in this. And so I was a little disappointed that we haven't even went to Morton Buildings and asked them for any kind of.
But when you go to Morton Buildings, FBI, you have to have a set plan that says, okay, this is exactly what we want, and we're not at that point.
Okay.
We're still at the point,
Okay.
that's still a direction that we
That's a
could
good
go.
answer. I mean, that's-
Once we
I didn't
figure
know that.
out,
Yeah.
are we doing this, are we doing that, are we going both
Right,
directions?
And I think that comes from us, quite frankly, the property committee and the chairman, that give you guys a little bit more focused parameters to operate with, because what we've asked you guys to do is extremely difficult, because nobody's going to be happy. Because we just don't know what you're.
Not everybody's gonna be happy, no matter what.
Well, I just think we need to put more meat on the plate for you guys, so we have some kind of, this is the high end, this is the low end, this is kind of what we're looking for, and kind of narrow the focus a little bit, and kind of establish what that criteria is. We can't just say, well, this is really expensive. Okay, it goes back to that. Well, how much is too much? And we haven't given it to you yet, and I think that's hard to do. It really is.
And going back to what you said, Mike, on this, we're actually asked to look at existing buildings, not a new Morton building yet or anything
Right.
like that.
Right.
So we'll get this problem solved and then we go to the next step.
Thank you.
We do know, back to the sewers, Mark, we do know that the city will not go in and work on that line. Because they're afraid that that line's gonna collapse and they're gonna get their equipment stuck, and then they're gonna have to dig all that up. So they won't even go in and work on that line. As it exists now.
You want to add to that, Mark?
Well, I was wanting to go on a different tone. I was kind of getting away from the sewer, because I obviously am not gonna get an answer on my sewer question, so I was wanting to kind of go in a different direction here, and kind of along the lines of what Mike was talking about here. I know when I talked to John called me, we had a nice little conversation, and one of the comments that John made to me was that we were trying to compare apples to oranges. And that stuck to me, that apples to oranges. Well, I understand that to get it to a point where we're comparing apples to apples, that we're gonna have to spend some money. Would have to hire somebody to come in and look at the Opperman building and look at what's preliminary being proposed out there, and try to get it on an equal footing. But I think that might be a direction maybe we should go, is to hire someone that doesn't have any irons in the fire. I mean, Mr. Opperman's a fine person, but he's wanting to sell a building. Farnsworth are fine people, but they're wanting to build us a new building. Why don't we try to get somebody from outside, doesn't have any irons in the fire, not trying to sell us anything, hire them. I'm one of the, you guys know me, I'm one of the last ones that want to spend money. But I think that if we're gonna be looking apples to apples, maybe we need to hire somebody to come in and take a look at it, and then come back and report to us, so we're looking at apples to apples. And I guess that's what I would suggest maybe doing at this point.
But part of that in my conversation, Mark, what I mean too is to move it into part of getting apples to apple. In a new building, we're looking at new sewer, new lighting, new heating and everything. See what I'm saying? And how do you, if we say it's gonna take X number of dollars to remodel this building, but yet we ain't all new, do we start taking some down? See what I'm saying? That's part of apples to apples, I feel, you know, is where we're at there. I mean, I guess if we look at the final cost, we have to think about some of that too. You're looking at everything brand new here, and you might have some 40, 50-year-old stuff here too.
Yeah, the homes are still
Yeah.
gonna be.
And you have to consider, Mark, also the square footage versus square footage. So if you were to make that square footage optimum compared to square footage of the new building, then you gotta add that square footage onto the optimum building.
Well, I know you're not gonna let James talk, I know he wants to, but by your rules at the beginning, you weren't gonna let him. I guess my answer to that would be, is that I'm not sure what type of square footage we really need out there. I mean, I know what our fine department heads are saying that what their wish list was, but there's a difference between a wish list and what is absolutely positively needed. And I walked through that Opperman building, and I'm not saying I'm for it, because there's some issues out there that would have to be addressed before I could ever go down. So I'm not here pitching the Opperman building. But what I'm saying is that it can be configured in a different way. I mean, I think what they got out there are all private offices. Do we really need all private offices? Or could we get a small section where you're gonna go cubicle, so you can get the square footage down a little bit? I'm not totally convinced yet that that building's not big enough.
The new building that we talked earlier was not consisted of one person in each room either. It was more than one person in a room.
So, like I said, I'm not here tonight pitching either direction. I'm just not sure that where I'm at is I'm not ready to give up on the Opperman building yet. It might get to that point pretty quick, but at this point, I'm not there. There's some issues that need to be addressed, but
So, asking what you're saying,
I
how
like,
much money do you wanna spend before you say enough is enough? How much do you wanna spend on design? How much do you wanna spend on people saying what we gotta do to make it the right way?
that's,
Mark, also on the sewer, by what the city has told us, is they're looking at about a 2-year time frame to fix that sewer in that area of the city. That helps you on your sewer problem. Anybody else on the committee make comment? Mike? Whatever.
Is that that 2 years you're talking about, is that contingent upon TIF money becoming available? So that's not a guarantee.
You know, still has to go through the city council, apply for the TIF, or, yeah, have the TIF money for that. Anybody else on the committee? Mr. Opperman,
Yes.
you waved your hand a little bit ago, and then, Mr. Blackford will follow you, and then Mr. Bratton.
Since you're very hung up on the sewer, I would like to address that particular point. I repaired that sewer this week, personally dug the hole. So this is not hearsay. The problem with the sewer did not involve the Opperman building. The problem with the sewer was west of the Opperman building, where the shade building tied into that sewer line. A 6-inch sewer line is every much as commercial a sewer line as an 8-inch is. I don't know where that idea of not being big enough, there's tons of 6-inch sewer in this town that are commercial property. That is a 6-inch sewer. The problem was where the tie-in was made from the building west that then backed up the sewer. There is also a manhole problem that is also to the west of the Opperman building, which will be addressed also. There's a piece of tile missing in it, which makes it difficult for them to clean. But that should no longer be a problem. So just in addressing that sewer that you're very hung up on, the city does still say they would like to replace that whole thing. That's wonderful if they do it. That was a private sewer originally, and that's why it hasn't been done. And what they want to do wouldn't make any difference. So the sewer is outside of the building, and it should no longer be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Now, that addresses the sewer issue.
Mr. Blackman?
Oh, could I continue one more? I would like to say one other thing. In my letter to the board, I was proposing not to sell you that building with the problems it may have, or the things that you don't like, the color or the carpet or what the walls, but rather to work with your administration and your leaders, come up with a plan, and then come up with a cost to bring back to you to see if it's feasible, to see if you would accept, and then to remodel that building, addressing every single concern you have, making that building every much a specification, a coordinate to what Farnsworth is dealing with and wanting to make it totally comparable to what Farnsworth is doing, so that in every way you can compare it without any cost to you having somebody do it, and say, here is a remodeled 100% the way you want it facility. We can include the demolition of the old building if you want to. We can include anything you want to do, redoing the blacktop, redoing the color of the building, whatever, so that you're happy with it. I'll come up with a cost for all that you can then compare to anybody else you want to, a new building or a Farnsworth building or whatever else. That's all I was proposing originally in my original letter. Can I come up with that for you? I've got 40-some years experience in doing that. I never got an answer, yes or no, to do it.
Mr. Blackman, you were next.
I'm just going to say that in order to get to that apples to apples comparison, we need to look at dollars per square foot. So that we need to let Mr. Opperman or whoever else, go with Mark's idea, go through, figure out what it's going to cost to do that work, and compare it to the cost of a brand new building.
Mr.
Okay.
Kirkman,
So,
and then Linda, you'll be next.
there's a lot of complicated arguments flying back and forth here. Energy efficiency, the age of the building, the sewer system, all this stuff. I look at this, so me personally, a lot of you know me as a farmer, I also develop commercial real estate for business, for a living. When I look at an investment, I look at what am I getting as a thing of value out of this purchase. It's been made clear that we're gonna have to do a complete gut remodel on this building. And whether we pay for it or Mr. Opperman pays for it, we're gonna pay for it in the end. And so what is the thing of value that we're getting here if we have to do a total gut rehab? If you were to tell me as a commercial real estate developer that I could come in, buy the land, the building, spend all the money to gut it to get down to what the thing of value is, which is 4 walls and a roof, and you're telling me that I can do all of that cheaper than building 4 walls and a roof on land that I already own? You know, I got nothing against Mr. Opperman, but as a commercial real estate developer, I would laugh in your face. I mean, it's just not realistic. And I've gone through the numbers myself. I know what general ballpark costs per square foot are, and the idea that we're gonna save a huge amount of money by buying land, gutting it, to get to the thing of value, which is 4 walls and a roof that we can build ourselves on property that we already own, I don't believe it.
Thank you. Linda, please.
I just want to know, will you 3 guys stay on the ad hoc committee, whichever way this goes? Because I feel I've made myself clear to you, and I feel that your goals are in line with mine. And so I'm interested in if you 3 will stay on and kind of oversee it from the board. Are you willing to do that?
That's up to Madam Chairman.
Or is it going to be the property committee? I'd like to know that before I go.
I'm on the phone, that's what it takes.
Just to explain how it works, regardless if there's an ad hoc committee or not, that group is always gonna report back. Yeah, to the property committee.
But I feel they'll steer it. These 3 voted no on the 7.2. I feel they are very conscious of not letting the costs go sky high again. and that they, you know, and so I would like that, those people at the helm of it all.
Well, let me make a comment there. We, property committee, did not appoint these three gentlemen.
Right.
Two were on the property committee, Mr. Fannin is not. This came from our past chairman. They were his choices, I think they're good choices. Mr. Young, and I don't see why they would ever not be on it unless they decide not to be on it, but other than that. Mr. Wilkie? You have-
Yes, I want to know who is the person that's made a decision that this building has to be gutted. I mean, I've been around a lot of construction, and I'm not knocking Mr. Rivera, but there's a lot of walls in there that do not need to be touched and can be used for offices and everything. I don't feel that building is even close to being needed to be gutted.
Thank you. Go ahead.
When you put a totally different use in here, there's gonna be a lot of different plumbing and a lot of different things in different places. And a lot of that stuff has to go down underneath the slab. And if we're gonna go in there and cut the place up, and we're gonna cut a big chunk of slab out here and a big chunk of slab out there, but leave this office and leave that alone, it's a very inefficient way to build a new space. The idea that we can just cut it up and go underground and put in new sewer lines while leaving certain things in place, I don't think it is a reasonable expectation.
Go ahead. You waved your hand.
I was just gonna say, I have no problem at all with having these three gentlemen continue on the ad hoc committee. And I like the fact that one of them is not on the property committee. But with the experience, I know Gerald's experience, at the township level, and the White High School Board, and building projects, he's been involved in before, and I trust what he's doing, I trust all these gentlemen's
It's
experience.
just always there.
I as well. I just haven't asked them. So.
I stand corrected. Mr. Aaron is not on the property committee, but I stand corrected. First mistake in the last 5 minutes, so.
Well, I think it's good by process.
Yeah.
You know, you were talking about walls, and due to HIPAA, those walls have to be insulated a certain way and to keep voices and conversations inside the rooms. So a lot of those walls, like you said, couldn't be used anyway, would have to be redone.
And it's a small portion of the cost of the unit. The cost of the studs and the drywall and the location of those non-load bearing walls is very low.
Mr. Opperman had his hand up first. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
If you would allow us to come up with a cost, you could make a very easy comparison. That's all we're asking for, is let us have the opportunity to show you the cost. We certainly aren't going to spend $7 million, I'll tell you that.
Well, we're not either. We've got to make that decision. Ms. Nick.
Was there any, do we know a cost of the building, the brand new building that you're considering?
No,
Do we have any idea?
We have not been approved to do any studies on a new cost building. We've been asked to do this right here.
What was the cost of the other new building that we turned away?
7.19.
That was the whole project.
That was the whole.
That was
What
the
was the-
latest figure of the. Right.
What was the building
No,
itself?
stop. She's got the floor.
I'm sorry. What was the, does anyone know what the cost of the building itself was, not the whole project?
It's 5.6 million.
It was 5 point?
5.6 million divided by 19,000 square feet is $295 a square foot. That's an extremely high number when you're talking about commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Office space typically is about $200 a square foot. If you go really nice, maybe $250. So the price that they've got there, I would say is I was not a part of that, but what I've been told is it's a very inefficient design. I think if you squared it up and built it kind of with the owner-operator mindset, in that you're not going to overspend on inefficient designs, you're going to try to get everything together as much as you can and get economies of scale as much as you can. I think $200 to $250 a square foot for new construction is probably the fair estimate.
Is normal, okay.
But as bid from Farnsworth, 5.6 million by 19,000 square feet is almost $300.
Anybody else? Comment? Public comment?
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
How much have you paid Farnsworth already? And Wiley?
About 350,000.
350,000, and what have you got?
Well, we had, we've got a couple sets of blueprints and,
One happy GLC EDC member.
25,000 feet.
yeah, I guess you could say that. Anybody else? No hands waving? All right. End of discussion. Ad hoc, would you guys like to make a motion, not a motion, whatever you, to the board?
I'd like to make a motion that you either, which way you'd like us to go as far as either.
We're just looking for direction.
For direction, yeah.
My motion is to accept this review.
The motion for this committee. That's why it's on John.
You did our job.
You did.
Yes, you did, thank you.
They're asking.
We already have everything prepared. We did our job on this.
I think you're looking for a motion just to accept the ad hoc committee's findings and recommendation as presented.
Okay. Now, make a motion to accept the ad hoc recommendations as facts and findings as submitted, I guess.
Yeah. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Committee members only. Voting. All in favor with this, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No. Can I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Gillian.
Yes.
Pittston.
Yes.
Allen. Yes. Kirkton.
Yes.
Runyon.
No.
Weller.
Yes.
That will be recommended to the county board, for further discussion there. Do I have a motion for adjournment since Mr. Vietti's not here? Do I have a second?